I had never stayed in the only apartment I stayed in was behind Air Greenwood because God, Miss Ida taught me about tithes and offerings, and it broke generational curses off of my life. God moved me in the house at Subway. He signed Miss K in there to me, just like Miss Trisha. I told Miss Trisha, I said, Miss Trisha, you are God sent. She probably thought I was just saying that. I wasn't. I had a horrible childhood. I said, you are God sent. When I tell you, Miss Trisha went hard for us. Miss Trisha got in places other people couldn't get. Miss Trisha went hard. People could see, oh, they can't afford to move in. How you know? When God is for you, a demon in hell can't be against you. I ain't rich, but God has always looked out for me. You know why? Because I looked out for my mama. I don't care what nobody say. They was like, oh, she did such and such and such and such. Lies. Lies. Tell your truth. I don't have no children. So anything I did for anybody, it was from my heart. Because guess what? Verna ain't never had a baby. So anything that Verna did, it came from Verna's heart because I didn't have to do anything. But because of the type of heart that I had, God, I looked out for people. People looked out for me. We used to look out for each other. Because that's what when I was younger, nobody did that for me. If I didn't fight to come out of that lifestyle, I wouldn't have made it. Nobody came to save me. Nobody ain't coming to save you. If you don't get up off your do nothing and do something, you're going to miss it. And it's not easy. I used to tell people that. Ain't nobody coming to save you for some of us. You have to get up and fight, and you have to put all your trust in God. All of it. I just went through a certain few testimonies, but I'm going to save it till God put me in my ministry. Just like the name of the ministry that he gave me. They probably was like, how she gets all God. When we go to church, it ain't meant for us to just sit there and die. No, we need to be discipled out. That's why it's so when you go to school, you don't stay in school. You got to go to the next grade. Them teachers ain't your parents, they your teachers. They your leaders while you there to teach you. If you don't study for the spelling test, if you don't go home and practice how to write, spell your name, study for your spelling test, learn how to do that math when you're in that class, you are going to miss it. Just like I dropped out of school. If I wouldn't have went back to get my GED, I wouldn't have been able to go to cosmetology school for a licensed cosmetologist. I wouldn't have been able to go back to be an instructor. I wouldn't have been able to do that because I didn't have a diploma. And people was like, oh, she's doing a hairstylist because, no, I went to school to be a hairstylist because I had a record. I've been to jail. And certain jobs, they going to look at that. I tried to get it expunged, but guess what? The enemy, baby, he fighting right now. He don't want to see me with a ministry, but God going to do it. That's why I started the GoFundMe. God gave me this mission. When you go to school, if you don't learn, if you don't study your spelling test, if you don't practice how to do the math, when the teacher is giving you the information, if you just sit there, you're going to fail, or either you're going to be in special education. And some Christians now, they in special education in the Christian reality because they sit there and depend on men. Why? Because they don't want to read for themselves. I had to learn how to read, study that word from the God say study, show yourself approval. If you don't read the Bible, if you don't get in there and study and sit down and get in your quiet place and learn how to study and get a relationship with God for yourself, how are you going to know? Because you're sitting dependent on a man. It's not meant for us to just sit in church and die out. No, you need to be discipling out. That's why it's like it is now. People in wrong places and so many churches falling. Because everybody's still sitting down in the churches 25, 30 years when they should be building a kingdom. So now they looking at me God told me to do it. He gave me the name. He told me to do this. So when he get ready to do what he gonna do, because I Verna did all her part, he gonna do it. Why did he tell me to start the GoFundMe? Maybe just to put it out there. But people always think something bad gotta happen. No, God told me to do that. I know what it's like to grow up with no hope. I know what it's like to grow up poor, welfare, food stamps, the spirit of rejection. I know what it's like to smoke weed and drink alcohol, going to the club, thinking this and this and that, and nobody comes to help you. When you go to college, whatever them professors give you at that school, if you don't go home and do that homework, sit down and do every assignment, every hard task, you ain't finna graduate. If you going to school to be a doctor, you're gonna be in there for years. But after a while, you coming out. If you do everything that you're supposed to be doing, how you think the doctors could cut you open, put you back together again, deliver babies, give you IVs, give you shots, tell you got this, tell you why? Because they went to school, they studied to show their self-approval. The professors was their leaders while they was there, but guess what? They still had to do their part. They'll cut you from the rooted to the tutor and put you back together again. Who you think gave them the ability to do that? If you don't study that word for yourself, from the rooted to the tutor and study the word, read that word, listen to the word some type of way, if God can do it for me, I ain't graduate from high school. I never failed a grade by the grace of God, but I ain't graduate from high school. I had to go back and get my GED. And when I went, at first I went to Park Forest, but I wasn't doing right, or whatever that school was in Valley Park for the GED. We was doing everything but the right thing. So I dropped out of there. My mama said, you need to go back and get your DED. So me and her started going together. I went to St. Paul. If I didn't sit there, even though I went, if I didn't sit there and study, because I still had to go and take the test that they give you before you even graduate. I had to take the CAT or whatever that is. But if I wouldn't have studied, if I wouldn't have I wouldn't have graduated. They gave us a real graduation. I had to go get my diploma. But if I wouldn't have studied, I wouldn't have went back. I wouldn't have a diploma. If I didn't listen to Miss Ida and her wisdom, her knowledge, because she knew, I would have ended up with the wrong person. She said, write it down. Write the vision down. There's nothing wrong with writing the vision down. You may not get everything what you want. Write the vision down. Make it plain. And I remember I was living in a park. Some things are taught, some things are caught catching. And when I was asleep, and it felt like something crawled up on my back and was pinning me down. But as it pinned me down, I could hear God telling me to call on Jesus. But he also told me something, but he said, don't you ever tell it. And the thing that he told me, I never spoke it, but it happened. It came to fruition, and it was something positive. And I also remember God giving me a dream that somebody wanted to do me something. And I told a person about it. They was like, oh, that person ain't gonna, because they looked at a certain way. Because remember, I was the girl that stayed behind the club, and don't nobody want you. I didn't know I was, you know what I'm saying? I was a nice looking girl coming up, but I didn't know it because I still, experienced so much rejection. Baby, the next day, the person number was on my car, and I called them down there. And if they ever see this video, they're going to know who I'm talking about. I say, look at this number. And I told that person, I said, God already told me that you want to harm me. And I still took my crazy tail around there, but I was in my own car. And God said, if you don't get up, that's when I was younger in the park, and get out of here, you're going to wish you had. I got out of there so fast, they ain't see me getting out of there. But God warned me. And I never did that again. I done been put in certain situations coming up, but God will warn you about certain stuff. So the bottom line is you got to build a relationship with God for yourself. God told me to start this ministry, and he is going to do it. So me and my husband, we in our second home. but it was nobody but God. And it's not about the home, because this is a material thing. It's about God looking out for you. It's about God shielding you and protecting you from the thing that try to come and succumb you and take you over, especially the spirit of rejection. The enemy want me to feel the spirit of rejection so bad. Why? Because I experienced it as a child, and it messed with me for a long time, because I couldn't understand why I can't play with the children, why their parents don't want me around them, because I live right here. Why I can't play with them? Why they didn't want me around their children. They didn't want me around their kids. Oh, but baby, but God. God is nothing like man. Man will have you just sitting there, and you will sit there, and don't sit there and die out. Don't sit there and die out. That's why he allowed me. They done took and they trying to erase God out of the equation. Churches are falling. Pastors are falling. Why? Because you didn't disciple out. God give you this anointing, these gifts, these ability to teach, just like the teachers in school, just like the professors in the college. They can't keep you here. After you finish your 4 years, you got to go. Go do your livelihood. Go build what you're going to build. Go be that doctor. Go be that nurse. Go be that school teacher. Go be that business owner. So when you in church, it's the same thing. You got to learn. You come to get healed. You come to get delivered. You come to get set free. You come to find out, who am I in the kingdom of God? Lord, why am I here? Why did you put me here in this earth realm? How do I raise these kids? I didn't know nothing about raising no kids. I ain't know nothing about raising no kids. But it's certain people that I done look, God showed me what to do. And they was like, oh, she did. Yeah, because I know how it is growing up and nobody looking out for you and telling you the right things. But in the long run, you're going to appreciate it, because when you look back and you see what I was saying, what God was saying, it had been things God had told me to go tell people, and it literally came to pass about their future. It came to pass, whether it was good, but it came to pass. Certain stuff God do, I don't talk about it, I don't tell it. But guess what? They know. And you got to watch how you treat people. You got to watch, lying on people that then looked out for you, because it will come back and it will bite you in your butt. But people love negativity. They love to hear negative things about people. And you see, my mama, it's people that I said, my mama brother, Uncle Leon, he used to look out for me before he passed. He the first one that bought me like Nikes and came and took us to God Charles. I didn't know what God Charles was, but my Uncle Leon, he used to take me to God Charles. My Aunt Georgia, I don't care what nobody say. See, my Aunt Georgia, her and my mama, they look just alike. My mama and Aunt Georgia look just alike. I used to go stay with my Aunt Georgia every summer, almost every summer. That's why if I went around, they probably was like, well, I wonder why she like. My Aunt Georgia used to look out for me. She used to let me come and stay with her, and she ain't treated me no different. So guess what? When I grew up, people don't even know this. When I used to go in Prairieville, and when I growed up and I started driving, I used to always go see my auntie. When I got married, me and Johnny used to go by Aunt Georgia's house all the time. Nobody never knew it. She used to be at home in that front room, and me and Johnny would go sit in there and talk to her. Johnny will tell you. Johnny done met Aunt Georgia several times. That's why when she passed, I couldn't go to that funeral. I didn't want to look at her like that, because she reminded me too much of my mama. This was my ride or die right here. This was my ride or die. My mama, that was my ride or die. And I don't ever go to her grave, because I don't want to relive that. God done heal me, deliver me, set me free. I want to remember my mama, how we was, the laughs, the things I've done, that God allowed me to do for her, the things that God allowed to see before she left here. Experience riding in the car, going to the washing mat instead of washing clothes on her hands or washing clothes in the tub. Walking to the washing man. When she experienced, okay, my daughter got a car, everywhere I need to go, or catching the bus. So when I got going, I was able to do stuff for her. She got to experience a lot of stuff. My Aunt Viola used to look out for us. Deidre used to look out for me. Linda, Karen, Corey, Edith. We used to hang around with one of them. All us hung around on 45th Street. That gangster life. I don't look like it, but God delivered me and set me free. Why wouldn't he want to use me to help the next person? But guess what? If somebody don't want to be bothered with me, I have to have the spirit of walking away. Because God done brought me so far. I used to go off on you in a minute. I will cuss you out 10 different ways. I be ready to put my hands on you. Because nobody was going to bully me no more. Nobody was going to talk to me any kind of way no more. I seen my mama get treated like that. I seen my mama get treated different by men and doing this and doing that. So, no, you not finna, once I learn, you ain't finna treat me like, ain't nobody finna treat me like that. I'm going to stand up for myself. But God had to deliver me from that because I used to go off. He didn't calm me all the way down. Transformation. He delivered me from, in a year, I wasn't smoking weed. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't a total transformation. But guess what? That attitude was off the chain. But God. God can transform your life, not man. When we get in church, it's for us to get built up and get sent out. But they never send anybody out. They want to hold you back. God never told you that we supposed to take care of you for the rest of your life. That's not what God said. God is going to take care of you. God is your King of Kings. God is your provider. God said in his word that I will supply your every single need. But they trying to make God like he ain't nothing, like no, the devil is a lie. That's why I came on here to tell my testimony. I know it's long, but I got to tell it. In the name of Jesus. Don't let nobody push you out of your position or tell you that you can't do nothing for God because you're not in their ministry. It ain't your ministry. It ain't your kingdom. It ain't about you and whoever your 4, 5 and no more. No, it's a whole kingdom, baby. If God say it's a 5-fold, it's a 5-fold. How you gonna stop what God done said? How? How you gonna stop Verna or anybody else, baby girl, from doing the work for God? When I was younger, where you was? Who came and saved me? Nobody. Who came and said, go back into your childhood and think about your childhood? Did everybody grow up like this? No. But for the ones that did, I remember my mama getting jumped on, and I was too scared to do anything. I had to learn how to fight. Because she was taking up for who? She was taking up for me. Scary. Just like when I seen that lady and they jumping on that lady, that made me think about my childhood. They been doing stuff like this. It just wasn't recorded. That's why God told me to set up the GoFundMe. It ain't about who give and who don't give, but it's about getting the ministry out there. It's about me showing up and being obedient to his word. It's about he had me sitting back there for 3 whole years off of a lot of stuff. Deleting things that shouldn't be there. You got to go back and relearn stuff. Get in that word and read it for yourself. If you can't read, listen at it. Get a relationship with God for yourself. You went to school for all these years and sat in the class all day. You can't spend 30 minutes or an hour with God, but you could be in school from 6 a.m. to 2 or 3 o'clock all day. You could go to college for 4 years and then go back for 2, but you can't spend an hour with God a day. You can't spend time in his word. That's why God say, I give you free will. We have dominion down here in the earth realm. It ain't God's fault if you don't sit and read. It ain't God's fault if you don't be obedient to his word. If he did it for me, what about you? My childhood was hard. My mama was on welfare and food stamps since when I was little. I can't speak for the rest, but I could just speak for baby girl. Welfare and food stamps the entire time of her life. So how do I know tithes and offering break generational curses? Because he did it for me. I spoke it. The smile eye. I had to speak over my life. I had to tell God I didn't want to live like that. I had to tell God I didn't want to be where that picture is. I must have dropped it. Where is it? I'm looking for that other picture. I had to tell God I didn't want to be her. I had to tell God I didn't want to live like this. Now, look at them apartments. Look at it. I had to pray. I had to tell God, look at high as a kite. High. Budweiser. Cavassier, cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes for years. My lips were so black. Look how black my lips is. That's me right there. Look at me. That's me right there. Stay high. Look at me. Look. Didn't know how beautiful I was. Look at the corner. There you go. There you go. That's where I live. Look at the corner. That's the whole place. That's the club in the front. I had to tell God I didn't want to be thought of as that person right there anymore. I didn't want to be her. Look at that. That's weed in my hand right there. I didn't want to be her. I didn't want to be her. This me right here. This know what they used to say. If it ain't the baby goat, it's the billy goat. That's what they used to call me, goat. I was teased the entire time. Teased. These were my friends. Look at Cora. Who know Coco? Me and Cora was like sisters and brothers. They go Karen. Chandler. I ain't got no pictures of Chandler. Deidre. Cynthia. That's who I hung out with. They go Cora again. Me and Cora was like this. There we go. There go the apartments. There they go again. That's my brother June. You know, June way older than me. I didn't want to be her. So when I started becoming, I still didn't know who I was. But now, baby, I know my worth. Know your worth. Don't sit around and wait on man. Don't let nobody tell you, oh God, this. Get to know God for yourself. So when God put me in the ministry, wherever it's gonna be at, it ain't gonna be the same. If God gonna do something totally different, you are not to just meant to just sit in a church and die out, and you never go out and spread the good news. God said, go out into the kingdom and spread the good news. Tell somebody else about Christ, just like I'm on here telling my testimony. Tell somebody about Christ. This testimony could help somebody. Even though I'm not on here reading scriptures, I do that on YouTube. I read that word. But a lot of times when people they young and they out there trying to get through life, they not going to understand it. But if you talk to them and you tell them your testimony, they can understand, oh, my mama was on welfare and food stamps. You know what they're like? Yeah. You know what it's like to do? Yeah, I know what that's like. I know what it's like to commit fornication. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be delivered from cigarettes and smoking weed and hanging out and doing this, that, and the third. I know what that's like. I know what it's like with the spirit of rejection and you want to fit in and you running up behind people. God broke me from all that. I'll walk away because guess what? I ain't finna let nobody just break me down like that. I can't do it. I can't. I went through that already. So I have to have the spirit of walking away. And I used to tell Miss Tricia, the lady that helped me and John find his house, I say, Miss Tricia, you are God sent. I used to tell her that. And right now, God have me on a mission getting ready. I don't know how he gonna do it, when he gonna do it, but whenever he do it, it's gonna be on his time, no matter what. I became a hairstylist, didn't know how to do hair. I didn't do it because somebody else was doing it. I did it because I had a record. And I wanted to get certain jobs, but certain like stage jobs and stuff like that, they looked that up. They wouldn't let me get it expunged. So I went to school. That's why I went to school. And God taught me how to be a cosmetologist. And he taught me well. He taught me well. He taught me how to be an instructor. He's teaching me how to be Prophetess VernaLondon. Why? Because my life is literally a prophecy. I didn't grow up with my dad. It was me and Karen. And if I wouldn't have fought to come up out of that place, I would have died there. But look at God. No matter if I have gained weight or whatever, when I was looking good, smile like this here, nobody told me, oh, you look good. Nobody told me I looked good. Nobody told me that. So when my mama passed and I lost a bunch of weight, you think somebody came and told me, oh, you look, no. But then when you get, so what? I lost smoking weed. I lost drinking. I lost cussing. I lost going out to the club. Guess what? And gain a transformation. Being saved, being filled with the Holy Spirit, getting to know God for myself. When I was in school, I was never on a chill. I never did nothing in school. I didn't even know how to pray. I didn't even know how to read that good. I didn't know how to do nothing. God taught me life skills. God taught me. I don't know nothing about going to college. Nobody told me I could do that. Nobody. But God. God taught me how to read that word. God taught me how to pray. He taught me how to stand up for myself. Because I was too nice. That's why he look out for me. No matter how nobody go back and lie and say she did it, but they ain't gonna never tell you the good that you done for them. They ain't gonna tell that. But you do one bad thing, they gonna go back and tell it. If I tell some of the stuff they done did to me, my God. But I'm not like that. I done forgave people over and over and again, the small eye. But now, I'm done showing up for people that don't want to show up for me. I'm going to show up for God, because guess what? God brought me out. God taught me life skills. I ain't finna sit in a church and die. I'm going to spread the good news. I'm going to do what God tell me to do, whether who like it or not, because guess what? When I was young, ain't nobody came to save me. God saved me. So I'm going to do what God say do, no matter who like it or who don't like it. And when God had the ministry, how he's going to do it, the name is, it's already done. It's already done, son. It don't matter if nobody comes. God is going to help you. God is going to do it. It's like, oh, she can't afford to move to Zachary. Well, we here. God said he'll supply my every need. I've been returning tithes and offerings. I'd have taught me that before I stepped foot in the church and started going. I used to look out for my mama and my niece, even though, you know what I'm saying? I done looked out for them. No matter how much they say whatever. If it wasn't for God coming to get us up out of there, if it wasn't for me fighting for the family of me and my mama, who would have came? God did it. Man ain't do it. So what make you think when you go sit up in a church, a school, a hospital, that is up to man? No, you got to put your faith in God. It's God. No man will have God's glory. And anybody that see this know I'm not lying. So let me get on up out of here. Be encouraged. Spend time with God. If it's 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, if you want to go back to school and get your GED, if you want to go to do it. I done been to ministry school, do it. I went to ministry school for a whole year. You don't think the enemy still try to send a spirit of rejection? But see that experience that I experienced when I was little? Nobody can tell me about my daddy. There's some wisdom that I earned, that I lived. I breathed it. I lived it. They used to be pew, pew, pew. Baby, we used to be diving on the floor. My mama cuss you off from the rooter to the tune and then turn around and feed you. But we done had some good times because my mama was a jokester. Me and my mama used to laugh so much, boy. We used to be falling out laughing in that little apartment. I used to look out for Karen. Karen didn't look out for me. That's my ride. That was my ride or die. No matter what nobody got to say about it. My mama was funny. She'll have you cracking up laughing and cuss you out at the same time. And she wasn't scary. She was never scared. My mama wasn't scary. She'll fight anybody. Baby, spend time with God. If it's an hour a day, 30 minutes a day, just like you go and sit in school for all them hours, you get to churn up 6 o'clock in the morning. They're at school all day. The teachers teaching them English, math, PE, football, teaching them this and teaching. But at the end of the day, they coming back home. At the end of the day, they done grew up. Some of them went to be on football stars, basketball stars, doctors, lawyers, nurses, teachers. But they ain't still in that school. They living their livelihood. They building the kingdom. Why God's people don't do that? They done tore the church down. But they can't tear God down because he still got a remnant. God still has a remnant that loves him, and I'm one of them. And wherever he placed that bill, I'm going to be busted. I miss. God pulled me out of the church. He allowed me to go and visit certain places, but when my time was up, my time was up. He still have a remnant. And I love being in his presence. I love being with the body of Christ. But it's not for you to sit there and die. You got to go out. Some of y'all called to nations, cities. Supposed to be opening up youth centers, schools, being churches, spreading the word of God and sending the people out. How you going to be in the kingdom and you ain't sending the people out? You want them to sit there for 30 and 40 years. That's why so many people sick. They give locked up. It's laying dormant. It's dead on the inside of them. Because they didn't do it because man told them not to. But God told you to do it, but he don't want nobody else to do it. He sent disciple out. Who are you to tell somebody they can't do a work for God? Take your foot off them people's neck and let them go and do a work for God. Some of y'all could have homeless shelters, women's shelters, youth programs, apostles, pastors, prophetess, prophets, evangelists, teachers. But they didn't say that you can't do it. Why? They doing it. It's not there. It's not there. It don't belong to them. Who died for you? Who died for you? Jesus died for you. That's who you're supposed to be doing the work for. That's who you're supposed to be spending time with. Spend some time with Jesus and get to know him. That's all they talking about. The Christians talking about each other, dogging each other out, don't want to be there for each other. That's discord. God is not messy. That's why you see me dancing and laughing and being Auntie Bubblegum, because I didn't have a chance to be a child when I turned 18 and go off and do a career. No, I had to take care of Carrie. Because I wasn't finna leave my mama back there to die. She coming with me, and that's exactly what Verna did, baby girl did. Take your foot off them people's neck Y'all better do your work for God, or you that your gifts and talents and dreams are going to die on the inside of you. People be sending out witchcraft, warlocks, praying that you don't do it. It ain't about money, baby. When God sent his disciples out, he told them don't take nothing with them. Why? Because he was going to make sure they was taken care of. When Paul and Silas was going about being disciples, and the lady was coming behind them, oh, they doing this for God, and they rebuked that spirit up out of them. The man got mad because they rebuked that demon up out of her, and she couldn't make them no money no more. They locked them up in jail. They beat them with rods, stripped them out their clothes, locked them up in chains. But oh, baby, the promises, they didn't forget about the forgotten promises of God. They start singing and praising God in the midst of being thrown in jail for preaching God's word. In the midst of getting beaten with rods and their clothes ripped off of them and they beating them. Baby, they start seeing God send an earthquake and open up the whole jailhouse and was letting them out. And the guard was scared. I read about that the other day. It's on my YouTube channel. Baby, he saw the whole earthquake. The earth was quaking. And he sent them out. And the man was scared from to kill himself because he thought they hadn't got out. He said, don't do it to yourself. Don't kill yourself. We still here. God just got them out. Who came and got them out? God sent the earthquake. Then the man wanted to be saved. He took them to their house and they fellowship. Are you discipling out? Or are you still got the people sitting there for 30, 40 years with your foot on their neck? And they ain't never went out and did nothing that God told them to do. They just in the church, entertained. That's why the church broke down. And people didn't help you, done got on your feet, you done did this, did that. And the people just done died out and took all their gifts to the grave. Ain't never disciple out. Baby, you gotta be bold to go against the grain. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off. And God allowed me to experience going to this apostolic church. When I stepped in the church, most of the people in there was Caucasian. I went to that church for about 8 months. I was on the God wanted me to go for a reason. I'm not gonna say why he sent me, but it was for a good reason. And you could feel the spirit of God so heavy in there. Baby, I felt so free. I say, God, what in the world? Say, go ahead. Nothing but Caucasian people and maybe one or two African Americans, and I probably was like the third or the fourth one. Everybody in there was Caucasian, and they were filled with the Holy Spirit. It was so different. And they welcomed me with open arms. But I was on a mission. So after it was over, I even went to some of their house for Bible study. They invited me to their house. They missed me. They be wanting me to come now. But I was on a mission. After I finished, it was and no schism, no isms. The whole church was Caucasian. And I went there for about 7 or 8 months. Praise, worship, shouted. And the ladies become, I'm coming to sit over here by you, Verna, because you be afraid. They started doing it too. Iron sharpens iron, no matter the color. But see, that's how the enemy works. I used to go to their houses for Bible study. Every Monday, they would have a Bible study, and I would go. I never told, God hid me. I never told them who I was. I never said I was I just was known as Verna. That's it. That's all. I never did anything. God sent me there for a specific reason. And after that, my time was up. But people miss. Sometimes the blessing be right in front of you and you miss it because you looking at the person. You're looking at the person. Don't give up on your hopes and your dreams. And if God is telling you to do something, do it. Who gonna stop you? If you could go to college for 4 and 5 years, if you could send your children off to college when they turn 18 and 19 for their livelihood, you mean to tell me you can't go out and do a work for God after 12 years, but you could go off to college for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, and go be doctors and law, but you scared to sit and go and do what God say? No, there's no. Do what God is telling you to do. Whether it's to open up youth centers, schools, a ministry. That's why the wrong people got the ministry, because the people that's supposed to have it, they still sitting in church after 30 and 40 years. And they are spiritually dying. Spiritually. That won't be Verna. God saved me. And I'm going to tell it. And when God opened up the ministry, I ain't finna keep it. Baby, you going to be disciple out. You ain't coming to stay. You come to see who you are. You come to get healed, delivered, set free. What's your mission? What's your purpose? If you ain't for that, I ain't going to be the place for you. Because you ain't finna sit here and die. No, you're going to go out and spread the good news. And that's what it should be. And do I have a right? Yeah, I went to school for a whole year. I'm going to be able to teach that thing. And I got ordained. Who ordained, made sure I got ordained? God did. God did. Look at me. I didn't even know I was that beautiful. You think anybody encouraged me and told me? No. They'll make you think you the scum of the earth. And it's sad that people look at Christians and get on there and talk about Christians and religiosity. That's religiosity. God say, go ye into the world and preach the good news. You got souls to save. The harvest is plentiful, but the labors are few. Why the labors few? Oh, you gonna go to hell? How you gonna go to hell for telling the good news? And y'all just sit right there and listen. That ain't gonna be Verna. That ain't gonna be me. And people that lied on me, said this. The truth, and that's one thing that I like about what my brother said, Evangelist Tucker. He said, it's one more thing about the truth. It's going to be the naked truth. Whatever the truth is, it's going to show up. The truth going to show up. The truth going to always show up. You ain't got to say nothing because it's going to show up. Watch how you treat people because, baby, I know I used to be doing stuff I ain't had no business in the world, and it came back on me. So I know that when you don't know better, you get whipped with a few stripes. But when you know better and you willfully do it, you get whipped with a million stripes. If I go back out there in that world and I start smoking weed, I start drinking, it's going to be 7 times worse. Why? Because I'm going to take 7 more spirits with me. And I used to smoke cigarettes hard. I used to smoke weed. I used to do all that. You think I want to live like that again? No, to the no, to the no, to the no. It's real ratchet down here. It's real ghettoish. It's real ratchet. It's real ratchet. God deliver me. Whatever he delivered me from, I didn't pick it up again. The smile eye. He delivered me from smoking weed. I used to smoke so much weed. I never thought I used to love to smoke weed. I used to love to smoke my cigarettes. Baby, give me a cup of coffee and get them cool cigarettes. Now I can't stand the smell of it. I used to get high before I go to work. I used to get high before I went to church. When I first started going to church, I used to smoke weed. God deliver me. Go to the club and love to dance. Like you see me dancing now, I just change and could dance. Oh, baby. I used to be like, yeah, here she, yeah. Baby. Called myself trying to sell weed. And did it. And was good at it. But look at God. This all God. Prophet, God. Me speaking over my life. Nobody came and did that for me. God did it. And whatever God delivered me from, this experience, I've been walking with God for over 25 years. I ain't just jumping up and saying I'm finna have a ministry. Baby, this done been lived out, experienced, seasoned. I ain't just popping up. No, this ain't no pop up. This years of being in the school with Christ. Over 25 years. I got to be discipled out. I got to tell somebody else. I got to help God's people disciple out. You just can't sit in the church and die. So I'm going to get on off of here. I hope this helps somebody. I don't know how long I've been on here. I can't really tell you because it keeps saying slow connection. I hope it's what's going while I'm on here just talking. Don't know if I'm on here or not. It's saying I'm live. Baby, I got on my little belt thing. That's why my stomach's sticking out. Trying to slim my little waist down. Baby. I had on my waist trainer for a little while. But y'all know about them waist trainers. But anyway, when God deliver you, stay delivered. Put all your trust in God. Even though stuff happen, don't give up on God. Because he ain't going to give up on you. And I can't wait to see what this ministry is going to be like. The Lord said the same. I live to see it. I hope and pray I do. Because God going to do it. And it's going to be different. God not through his ministry. Why? Because we have to come together in fellowship. We are the church, but we still got to come together in fellowship. You can't go to people's houses in fellowship because people need to be healed and delivered from stuff. That's why he gave us a building. That's why you have a hospital to go in. That's why you have a school building to go in. The learning isn't you, but you still got to go to the school. If something happens, you still got to go to the hospital. That's why they got jailhouse. They got this. You have to have a place to worship. They done mess Christianity up. They done mess God's name up so bad. God gave you control and manipulation. He gave you dominion. We got dominion down here. Speak it over your life. You can have dominion down here in the earth realm. He ain't make everybody millionaires for a reason. Because I could have a testimony like this that God brought me through. It's different stages in our life that we're going to go through. So y'all have a blessed day. Go back and look at the video if you get a chance. I love y'all. I can't wait to see what God gonna do in this ministry. I can't wait to see it. And a demon in hell ain't gonna stop it. They sent out a spiritual war attack and everything. And I know where it came from. And God let me know. But God, he brought me out. I got 2 videos out on that on YouTube. Before, when I was out looking for where the ministry was gonna be when I came home, it was a spiritual attack, warfare. I'm gonna have some testimonies and they're gonna be powerful. And I got the proof to show it. The smile eye. So y'all be blessed. Have a blessed day. Love y'all. If y'all want to, y'all can send stars and stuff too to help, on my videos. Love y'all.